Okay, good afternoon. Beam trawl fishery is sometimes described as a system that creates maximum environmental destruction, turning our seas into a wasteland and graveyards, and really destroying our environment. But of course, we as scientists want to assess this impact more objectively. And recently, of course, the European Marine Directives has driven our research to solve this problem on a more regional scale. Therefore, this research question is summarizing our problem. How much of a specific habitat do we need to conserve to protect all the functions of the Benthic seafloor? And what intensity of trawling can be allowed with a particular gear type? To solve this question, we try to create impact maps based on fishing pressure and sensitivity of our habitats. On the one side, we determine the footprint of the different fishing gears and the spatial extent of this fishing gear to have a spatial distribution of the fishery pressure within an area. On the other side, we use habitat maps and try to evaluate the sensitivity of those habitats to have a sensitivity map. Combining both maps should lead to an impact map on regional scale. Currently, in different initiatives as the European Benthic project and in the OSPAR assessment, different methods were developed to assess this on a regional scale. This will be currently, the coming 3 years, being put forward in different working groups of ICES and OSPAR. But very essential in this discussion is on how to determine the sensitivity. Of course, for this you need field data where you have a pressure gradient and can observe changes in your benthic composition, which is measured by any benthic parameter or indicator. So in this process, we can determine more objectively which thresholds or turning points were there for the different habitat types. A process that's not currently executed in the Belgian part of the North Sea by a thesis student, Sarah. But I want to give already a glimpse on what can happen if fishery is reduced in certain areas, and I come back to my title of my talk, because I want to say that there is some hope for recovery of our soft bottom ecosystem after the cessation of fishery disturbance. I want to stress the word some because we don't know what the baseline conditions were here or which 3D structures and so on can be go further, but on the fauna which is now present in our system. If you see to the fishery activity within our area in the southern bight of the North Sea and in our zoomed in our Belgian part of the North Sea, we see a rather homogeneous high intensity of fishing activities. And for this, to investigate the relation between the fishery pressure and our benthic status, we investigated in Zone 1, which will be soon, fishing measures will be taken, limiting the fishery in that area, which is currently, based on this global scale assessment, classified as a relatively high impact, a medium-high impact within this area. But if you zoom in this area of the vessel activity on that moment, you see that there's a gradient within this area of fishing activities nowadays. So you see that there is less fishing activity outside. This gives us the opportunity, based on our benthic samples we take there, to investigate the relation between the ecology, the benthic ecology in the system, the sedimentological characteristics, and the fishery activity. And our main conclusion was that there is indeed a relation between a decrease in number of species and density with increasing fishing activity in that area, but in certain cases where locations where the fishing activity was relatively low, we saw some potential of high species diversity and density, so leading that there is potential to increase our biodiversity when we limiting our fishing activities within our area. To conclude and to come back to this more general question on how to manage fishery and to get to sustainable fishery activities and to have imbalance with our nature, we need to improve our footprint assessment of the fishing gears. We need to improve our sensitivity classification tools and indicators to get a more detailed estimates of the impacts on appropriate spatial and temporal scales. Therefore, that was my story. Thank you for listening.